So everyone knows that as a terrorist executing on a site, your goal is to limit the amount of good spots a CT can stand in, hold as many rotates as possible, and overwhelm the remaining CTs with multiple points of attack and good spacing. However, as a CT, you have the comfort of setting up in unknown positions, counter-nading, and creating crossfires to make it difficult for the terrorists to get that first site opening frag. On big sites like the one we're about to look at today, it's common to have up to 4 players sit and wait just to make sure that every choke point is secure, because as we're about to see, one crack in the dam can take the whole wall down. This is why today's topic is compromising spots. I'm Launders and this is Off Angle Episode 2. Today's demo is from Week 4 of ESL Pro League, where Liquid and NRG faced off in a heated bout on Inferno. The first half consisted of a couple lackluster B hits and a very persistent obsession with lane. On nearly all counts, NRG held A with ease, but on one round there was an arch split that completely dismantled the A defense. So why was that? In the first round of the match, Liquid got the bomb planted on A, but only after losing everyone besides Elige. As the last man standing, he looked to Library and won a fight with Fugly, which improved his odds dramatically. But not only because it went from a 3v1 to a 2v1. Having killed the big flank and knowing where the next 2 players would be, Elige had a much more comfortable position playing the cover in front of him. Apart from hitting nice shots, Elige was able to turn a 3v1 into 3 1v1s, which is exactly what NRG would have liked to avoid. Take a look at the site cover Elige would not be able to stand in if Fugly stayed alive long enough to approach the site. Now here's round 10. Liquid execute with a 3-2 lane and hall split on A and get shut down. If we look at this from the terrorist POV, they are coming up lane expecting that pit will be handled by the 2 players jumping out, which it is. Turning their attention to the site, however, there are a handful of angles that the CTs can be in, meaning aim-wise the Ts will have to be flicking around and guessing. From the CT's perspective, they realize that because of Daps' info on Arch and Pit, the remainder of the Ts will all come from this single point of contact. It's true that even with this setup, Liquid could have won if they flicked and hit their first bullets, but that's not the point. This round evidences why it is that the CTs have advantages in lesser numbers, and shows why these kills appear to have come as easy as they looked. So let's pull up our last round to show an example of how one might circumvent the problem of CTs being way too comfortable in their aim, and not having to flick around too much to lock down multiple kills. Round 4. Liquid wrap A with 3 arch, 1 lane, and 1 halls. Now it would be disingenuous to ignore that as this wrap unfolds, Fugly calls for a flash from Daps that is delivered perfectly, and even though Nitro eats it, somehow manages to call upon some ungodly muscle memory to flick back for the instant kill. Focusing on this, however, would unfairly take away from the fact that the same 2 remaining players on A in our previous round were able to find 4 easy kills between them, and here seem to have no chance at all to do that. Now Breeze started the round out on balcony, but switched up spots when Twist threw a flash out of halls. Changing to Pit, while not unfavorable, did limit his ability to fight against Arch, knowing that he had 1 opponent in lane and 1 in halls just waiting to hear him use his bullets. Once this spot has been compromised, Daps has been painted into a corner, unable to rely on someone to take the Archtrapper's attention away from him. He fortunately wins 1 duel but has no way to reposition and is traded out right away by Stanislaw. As Breeze tries to pick up where Daps left off, his spot is compromised one more time. This made it impossible for him to even try to get back to cover to delay for their first rotate. In the midst of the madness, Breeze was able to hit a clean shot on Twist and halls, but because Liquid closed in on him from 3 angles, there were way too many hard shots for Breeze to be responsible for. In terms of odds, NRG maybe win this round some of the time. But realistically speaking, if we focus on how many outs Liquid had, we also see that they would have had to rely on huge individual plays, which is not sustainable. In CS, splitting sites allows for the best odds to rob the CTs of easy fights. And so compromising spots is a critical component of undermining crossfires and overwhelming bomb sites.